Marami po sa ating mga kababayan nagpaplanong umuwi ng Pilipinas ngayong Kapaskuhan. Attorney Richard Lowe of Aquino and Lowe Law Office is here. Did you understand what I said?
Well, you know, a lot of it.
Okay, all right. Well, a lot of his clients are asking if we can go home to the Philippines or we can travel during the season. Attorney, you have pointers for us regarding that, right?
Yes, of course. For many people, it's okay to travel, but it really does depend on your own personal situation.
Okay, so for U.S. citizen, if you're a U.S. citizen, of course, you're okay to travel.
Yeah, basically, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can come in and out as much as you want. You just got to make sure your passport is current, and even to go to Canada and Mexico now, you need to have a current passport.
Okay, and current is it's 6 months before expiration, is that
right? I mean, you could travel with less than that, but then they won't give you that much time once you go to the other country. They'll only give you the amount of time on your passport.
Okay. What about permanent legal residents?
Well, permanent legal residents, generally, they can travel in and out as well. The only thing to be careful about with permanent legal residents is if there's some issue. If there was some issue, say a criminal conviction in the past, even though that may have not led to problems at the time, it can lead to problems when you come back.
That's pretty scary. What would you suggest? Like, if there are issues like case pending, or would you say it's better not to travel?
Well, if you're a permanent resident and you have some issue with a criminal conviction, I would say it's best to get advice of an attorney to look at that, to make sure that's not going to be a problem for you. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck at the point of entry, like LAX, for 3 hours.
How strict is immigration concerning traveling during the holiday season? I mean, is there a moratorium, or are they more lenient?
Right, they just let everybody in, right? No.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, you know, it's not that there's any real difference. I think what happens is that just the volume of people traveling goes up. So in some ways, it's a little bit easier because it's harder to regulate when you have a lot more people.
Okay. Now it gets tricky because then we talk about the different kinds of visas that there are. Student visa.
Yeah. So if you're a student visa, if you're an H or an L or an E, any of those kinds of non-immigrant visas, and you'd like to travel home for the holidays, that's fine as well, as long as you've maintained your status. And if you did a change of status here in the United States, then you have to go back to the embassy and get another visa in your passport to come back into the United States. Usually not a problem, but could be a problem sometimes.
And that's the problem I hear for some people that are here under H-1 visa, which is the working visa, because then they come here as tourists or as students, and then they change status, so the visa is not stamped on their passports. How easy is it to go to the Philippines and have it stamped there at the embassy? Because you can't just do it here, right? You can't do it within the country.
No, you can do a change of status, but you don't get the actual visa in your passport until you leave, till you go to either another country or your home country. It's not complicated, but you have to make sure that you're prepared to go through that process. That is, you have to have all the documentation with you. You have to make sure that you have everything filled out correctly, and the embassy does get a second look at what your application was when you did your change of status. So
sounds good. Well, I hear that in the Philippines, if you're going to the Philippines, because the interview for visa, because you have to go through the process again, right? The
yes.
interview for visa takes a few weeks. So then they say before you even go, you have to schedule your appointment with the embassy already, and so that you schedule your trip around that schedule.
That's a very good point. I mean, the embassy is a large embassy. There's a large volume of people coming in and out of the embassy. Your expectation shouldn't be that you're going to, go in on Tuesday and get your visa on Wednesday. You should account for the time that it's going to take for you to schedule an appointment and for you actually to go through the interview and then process your paperwork.
And I like what you mentioned earlier, that they do get a second look at your documentation. So it is possible that even if you got your change of status here and then you go to the Philippines, if the, what do you call them, the interviewing officer? Or
yes, the consular officer.
Yeah, if they find something, if they feel like they don't want to, if they find something that will hinder them from giving you that visa, they can revoke? Can they revoke your?
Well, they basically won't give you the visa. They don't revoke it. They just won't give it to you. Essentially, you're making a new application with the embassy based upon the approved application with CIS here. So the embassy is going to go through the paperwork and make a determination on its own. And if it comes to a different determination, then you're not going to get the visa.
And then you won't be able to leave the country.
Well, you won't be able to return on the visa that you had planned.
Okay, that's pretty scary. So now, Attorney, you're the expert here. What is your, like, if there's one advice that you can give us regarding traveling and immigration?
Well, one thing I get a lot of questions about is whether there's problems traveling within the United States, and these are people that are here illegally or something like that. And I would just suggest, as long as your paperwork is current, that is, you have a current valid passport from whatever country, or driver's license or any other identification, you shouldn't have an issue traveling within the United States. And so it's good to keep all those documents current, because too many times you have to travel and you're looking at your passport and it's 6 years ago that's when it expired.
And within the U.S. includes Hawaii and Guam. What about Puerto Rico?
And Puerto Rico. I'm always a little bit nervous about Guam, Puerto Rico, Marshall Islands. They are, technically U.S. territories, and you don't, visa or passports are not necessary in order to travel to those locations. But I would stay to the continental United States or Hawaii in order to avoid problems.
All right. At the end of the day, for your peace of mind, that's the number to call on the screen. They do give free consultation. It has to be an office consultation, and they charge a minimal amount for website or for internet and email or phone conversation or consultation. Thank you so much. More power to you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Magbabalik po ang Kababayan LA. Don't go away.